Welcome everyone to Male Fuzz TV. I am Peter, that is Tara. We talk about TV shows here. The year is 2023 and the name of the show is Babylon 5. This is going to be Season 5, Episode 18. It's called The Fall of Centauri Prime. So full spoilers for the episode, as always. So, yeah, it's obviously been a while since we did Episode 17. We came back last week with Third Space, but this is actually the episode that's picking up all of the cliffhangers. So the previously on at the start was very, very much appreciated show. Thank you very much. Helped out quite a bit. And this is a very Londo heavy episode, obviously. The title probably implies that, but like this is the transition from basically what feels like the end of Londo's story in the show to the future that we know he's going to be in, that we saw glimpses of before. And that's what this is. How did you feel about this episode, Tara?
I thought this episode was quite good. I really enjoyed it. I have my hang-ups that I'll never be able to let go of, and we'll just have to get over it. But overall, I thought the episode was really good. Very tense. What a way to come back in.
Don't worry, I'm over it. I'm over your high-ups, don't worry. Yeah. No, I mean, this episode, like, so much of it really revolves around like 2, 3, maybe 4 big scenes where it's just, it's Londo and the Regent / the Drac character at the start of the episode, and kind of him realizing what he's about to go through, what's happening to him, and what's been happening to the Regent. So the end of the last episode, of course, was the Regent sent away all the ships, and all of the other armies that came in blasted the ship. We start off this episode with all of the other ships blasting Centauri Prime. So, not Sheridan, obviously. He's not on board with this, but everyone else in the Alliance is here. They're angry that their ships have been attacked, and that's something that's been going on for pretty much all season. I mean, certainly the most of it. And here, Londo kind of discovers that this was just the region, but not really the region. He learns here that, because the Regents keep saying them, they say this, they say that, and they reveal themselves. And I think my first thing in this episode, well, the first thing in the episode that I really liked is that Londo's first instinct is to go and save Jakar. That's actually quite sweet. Londo's got a lot of really bittersweet moments in this episode where he's like having to put on an act for the Keeper and like be a dick to everyone, but you know that he's doing it for like right reasons, but they don't know that, and it kind of hurts inside.
Yeah,
a little bit. No, maybe I'm just really into it.
No, I mean, I think Londo's story is a tragedy, but I think also he sort of deserves this ending for what he did. I
think that's what gives it depth, though. I think so. Yeah, this first conversation with the Drac is that.
Oh yeah, JMS like loves to use the DRA blank for like everything in the show.
We've had a few of those for sure, but when we find out that, I think it's the Regent, the way he says it really sort of like gave me a chill. The first time I watched this was he said, they were lost because they served the shadows. They were on Zahadum with them, and when they left, they remembered our planet. They remembered you, and all of a sudden, everything that's happening to Centauri Prime that we've seen in the future, everything that's happening now from the Drac, it's all because of everything Londo was involved in throughout the show. This is like
this is penance.
Yeah, the comeuppance. As
Q would say.
Yeah. I thought that was like a real stark bit of the tragedy. It's like, yeah, he actually did kind of like this is the result of everything he actually like. Yeah, we know he's in a better place now. We know he regrets a lot of what he did and all that stuff.
But you can't go back.
Yeah, but this is actually the comeuppance that he's, which is why ultimately once he realizes this, he doesn't really put up that much of a fight. Like, he begs for Delenn's life at one point, and he begs for them not to like kill more Centauri and things, but he never really, in fact one of the first things he says is like, look, your issues are with me, so I'm here, take your vengeance. He basically tries to throw himself on the sword at his first chance. So
yeah, this is his monkey's paw. Like, he gets to be emperor also by the end, but he's he has to be like the worst emperor of all time and isolate his home planet for the safety of the galaxy.
Yeah, if I think the line he has when he's talking to Jakar is, he used to have all the freedom he could have wanted, but none of the power. But now he has all the power he could have ever wanted, but none of the freedom. I may be paraphrasing slightly, but he says something like
right,
that. Yeah. So this is all great stuff. You get him remembering them like a modern conversation where he's like, even if the shadows lose, their allies will come. Blah blah blah.
Yeah, this was foretold to him. In that scene, though, I was thinking, like, Londo's wig looks off. And then they showed that flashback, and you can see he's got, like, the white stripes for the hair. I'm like, he's just been using the Just for Men. But then it seems to, like, come back later, but not as strong. So I'm like, I wonder if, like, they just messed up on the wigs in that scene.
Maybe. I don't know.
Put the wrong one on him.
I have to say, I never noticed, but
I was like, his wig looks off. I don't know, something's wrong. And then when they showed the flashback, I'm like, that's what his wig's supposed to look like.
Yeah. On that, the one thing that I do notice sometimes, because obviously this is we're watching this nice HD kind of like mostly remastered. Obviously the effects aren't remastered, but all the regular footage looks great now. Is that obviously they didn't never know it was going to be in this quality in the future, and I do think the makeup at the edge of Delenn's
it's very
thing,
inconsistent and like it gets a little transparent almost, like you could see the flesh paint over top of it.
I can just kind of see the outline of where the makeup is a little bit, and I don't really blame them, because when they made this show, like they were making it for standard definition, so like I get it, but it's the same with old Star Trek. If you go back and watch the original Star Trek, like Spock's ears and stuff, you can sort of see where they meet his skin and stuff like that. But
totally, it's endearing.
So but I thought this was all great tragic stuff, and I found it quite touching that he effectively is willingly going to give himself over to like have this thing attached to him, because he sees the Keeper, it's revealed on the Regent, but he basically wants to go and say goodbye to Jakar first, and he gets to do that. So he comes to see Jakar, and they have this kind of conversation, and so I thought it was quite touching that he wanted to say goodbye to Jakar, and I also thought it was quite touching that he's like you're going to hear things about me, in a few months, in some years, I'm going to be and he obviously he's not allowed to say, like the Keeper, the Drac. The Keeper's not on him yet, but the Drac would know if he told him too much. So he's just kind of like, the position changes you, but he's like, I'm probably going to sound like I'm being awful. And I'd like to think that I'm better than that now, and it's not really me, or something to that effect. And they have this nice moment, and Jakar has this moment where he forgives Londo, which I also thought was quite sweet.
He says, "I'll never forgive your people for what they did, but I can forgive you. Except it was Londo that did it, so like it's all wrong."
No, shut up. I knew you were going to say this the second this scene happened. This is the most beautiful moment in the whole episode. It may be the most beautiful moment in this whole season. So I'm not having this slander towards it.
No, I don't approve.
No, this was great. The friendship that they've kind of formed is in many ways like the heart of the show for me.
And stupid, and I hate it.
It's the heart of the show for me. It's my favorite thing in the show. And I found this quite touching. We're not having this we're not having this conversation.
I said okay.
Well, you still had to bring it up though, didn't you? You still had to bring it up again.
Well, why am I here?
But we've had this conversation.
Am I here just to be like, yes, everything was perfect, and this is the best episode of the series, and I'm so happy about this arc?
No, but we've had this conversation many times before. Many times. Just let me enjoy the moment.
Maybe Jakar doesn't know. Maybe I've forgotten, and like Jakar doesn't know that it's Londo's fault.
He knows it's Londo's fault.
That he gave the order.
He knows it's Londo's fault. That's not. Let's see, we're talking about this again.
Then I have less respect for Jakar than ever.
I simply disagree. I can't agree with this. Well, yeah, I would stay on Londo. Londo's thing's the whole episode, really. Like because from here he becomes Empire effectively, and he's got a lot of moments in this episode, like insisting that Veer go away. Like there's a great moment where Veer kind of barges in the room, and he gets really mad at him and says never to barge in, and you always knock. And we know it's because he doesn't want Veer to see the Keeper because there might be consequences to that. He's basically...
He's also clearly changing at that moment. Like he was putting, clothes on. It looked like he was just finishing, but it was like, you could have seen me and seen the thing or whatever.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. So, but like, he gets really angry and sort of like, grabs his shoulders and shakes him and says, "No, Veer, you never do that. You must understand." And Veer's kind of like in shock and just says, "Yes."
But I've always done that.
But like, I think it's a touching scene though, because it's like, no, this is like a scared father who's like, "No, you can't see this because like they will kill you or they will do something to you if you find out." Like he's having to keep the secret. So it was nothing but concern, and then later on insisting that Veer go back and be ambassador in Babylon 5, and it's all purely to like keep him away. Like, and a lot of that is like true in this episode. Like he's like, yeah, all of you should go away. Don't come to the ceremony. Like, I'll go home. Like, all of it feels like it's coming from this place of like, no, you're my friends. I want you far away. So it probably hurts that he has to be kind of a dick to Sheridan in this episode, but that seems to be why they let him save Delenn. That was kind of how I took that, is that he's begging for Delenn's life and they seem to go along, and I know that they can control him, so they don't necessarily have to give him what he wants, but I suspect that it's probably much easier for them if he's not constantly trying to like break their rules and like do things behind their back and have to like enforce their control. It's
or like find another person to replace him, you know, if they have to like kill him because he's going against their wishes or something. Yeah,
actually there was a lot of detail here that I don't think we knew about the Keeper that I thought was like really even a little bit sadder, is that the Keeper can control you, but when it's not actively wanting to use you for something, you're actually yourself again, so you're aware that you're being controlled and you kind of have the illusion of free will, but obviously it'll be limited the second you try and do anything that the Keeper is designed to like stop you from doing. I thought that was like a really sad little detail. Is like, you know, in between,
it must be torture.
Like, because the episode ends with Londo sitting in his throne in a dark room with no friends, and like he's on his own. Like, this is like you say, his penance for everything he's done, and it's kind of sad because it's like he is still him in that moment. Like his misery here is still him feeling it. It's not like he's some zombie or drone. I mean, obviously we know from the future that eventually he's going to realize that if he drinks himself into a stupor, he'll be able to like hide things from it. But
I guess the Keeper also gets drunk.
They can't handle his booze. That's
well, it's so small.
Yeah,
it looks like the little Minority Report thing, but it comes off of a guy. Like, ugh.
Yeah, that was new. I don't think we'd seen that before. Where the Drac like takes it off of his chest and it kind of sprouts its tentacles.
A little bit of goo coming off too. I love goo. Ugh. What's that goo?
It's very gooey. I agree. So no, I think all of Londo's scenes in this episode I thought were excellent. I thought they all showed him and how much concern he had for the other people, whether it was Jakar, whether it was Veer, or Delenn and Sheridan. And that's the beauty of it. Like, the episode shows us that he cares about Delenn, because when he finds out about her ship, he like begs. He actually starts begging the Drac to not kill her. But then the scene with Sheridan, where he has to put on the act, he has to do what the Drac want.
I'll do this for you if you do something for me in the future.
Yeah. It's like so that scene like hurts a bit more because it lets us know for sure like he did care about Delenn. Like we would have probably guessed that anyway, just because what they've been through and how they've been recently. But
he was having a nice time on the ship or on the station.
It was, yeah. Wasn't that long ago Delenn hugged him, and he has to do his big speech to the crowd to rile up Centauri Prime, and the Drac want Centauri weak so that they're desperate and need their help, and that's what this has all been about. Everyone kind of, Sheridan and Co certainly are aware of this by the end. There's a scene with them at the end where they're talking about these seed things that were being used to control the ships remotely, and I even thought this was a good little scene where Franklin talks about how like the terrorist nuke attack that took out San Diego, which was brought up before, that was just like that the bomb or the tech involved was literally dating back to the fall of the Soviet Union, and it's this idea that when powers fall and there's wars that end, a lot of the weaponry and tech and dangerous stuff sticks around, and the people who end up with it are still wanting to use it. It's still out there.
Mm-hmm.
And that's definitely been something that's been brought up before on the show. I mean, so many of the weird things and technology that's been left behind that our characters have came across either from the shadows of the Vorlons or other things. You know, remember the healing device from like season 1. You know, it's like, oh, we're so willing to use this, and that seems nice enough on its own because it's a healing device. But we later found out that that's not really what it was for. That's just, you know. Well, it's part of it, but it was a bit more malicious than that. Like a lot of this tech.
Right. Well, like a lot of tech in general can be used for, you know, inventions can be used for war, which is why a lot of things get invented, as Franklin says. But then, you know, it starts for that, but then it gets later on used for something better. Yeah.
And there's even a little connection to that scene 1 million years in the future from the season 4 finale, where Lita's like, we can't go to the Vorlon homeworld yet. It's almost like there's like a sleeper message in our brain, so when they start talking about going to the Vorlon homeworld, she just sort of turns on and is like, no, we can't do that, not for 1 million years when we're ready to go to the Vorlon homeworld. So
maybe it's a biological memory or something that gets passed down through telepath,
or the Vorlons just put it in her when they were putting tons of other shit in her.
Maybe. Yeah.
I think that's more likely. I don't think it's a telepath thing. Although
there are such things as biological memories.
Yeah, but I think they've given us more direct, obvious things here to.
I don't know. They've been like programmed because the telepaths are only around because of the war that happened because of the Vorlons' interference. So.
I did like that little comparison actually when Lita points out that the telepaths themselves are part of this technology effectively.
Yeah, now that the Vorlons are gone, they would need that instinctive thing to pass on, so it would make sense that it was a biological memory. So in 1 million years, we know it's time to go back to the Vorlon. We have that migration instinct to go to the Vorlon homeworld.
Okay, I see what you're saying. It's something that has to be passed down so that they know to do it in the future. But how do they know they're the ones though? Like, how do they know it's our generation? What's the is there like a little extra bit in the message that's like a ding, it's time, you're ready?
I don't know.
Humanity's
why do salmon go back to the same spawning location, you know, that they were born in?
Is it like just a really long oven timer? Okay, humanity's now ready. They're done cooking. It's time to ascend.
We have the Kwisatz Haderach. Let's go. Yeah.
It's time to ascend to the Vorlon homeworld. Okay. But no, I thought that was like an interesting scene in its own. Yeah, the Delenn stuff. I mean, honestly, Delenn sitting about in her ship with Lennier is probably the weakest part of the episode.
Oof.
I would say
this was a 1-2 gut punch for Lennier.
This was rough, yeah, because they think they're going to die. They don't know that obviously Londo is making sure they're brought back safe.
Well,
but
in theory, we don't know either because he can only give the command at a specific time. But we've seen the future, so we can guess.
Yeah, we can make our guesses, obviously, but he obviously he's making sure they're going to be brought back safe, but they think they're about to die because the Centauri ships are getting closer. And Lennier, thinking they're about to perish, says, "I love you," to which Delenn cruelly says, "I know."
I can't even throw him a bone. They're both going to die. They both truly believe in this moment that this is the last moment that they have living.
And she
still just says, "I know."
She tries to patch it up.
Pathetic POS.
She tries to patch it up afterwards by saying, "You know, Delenn, I think you were talking before we almost died. I didn't quite hear anything you said,
You know, the beeps and the bloops, they were so loud."
Yeah. We have not really been super fond of Lennier, like, actually been romantically interested in Delenn. It's always felt a little bit off because of the more mentor, like, protege relationship they've had. So
yeah.
I think naturally I was just never going to be super into that. So maybe the awkwardness feels right in a way, because Delenn's like, "You're practically my son. We're not doing this."
Just like, I know you try to become a ranger to impress me. You learn how to build and ride a motorcycle to get chicks.
I don't know if going to Garibaldi for helping how to get chicks is the wisest move.
No.
Just the thought. But yeah, I mean, it's fine. Obviously, it's fine from all the other sides. You know, Sheridan's concern trying to talk to Londo and like going down to try and negotiate. All the other scenes that come out of it are all good. It's just the actual scenes with Delenn and Lennier on their own are, you know.
And then she's like, I really value our friendship. But also, like, come on, Lennier, you couldn't take the hint. Like, you should have left this alone a long time ago.
I mean, she has been married now for a while.
Yeah.
That was really a turning point.
And she's never been like, yeah, okay, maybe like if you fix yourself up a little bit or become a little bit more impressive, I'll like be interested. But like that's never been her angle. She's always been like, no, I'm in love with this man. You know this man. Like you're never going to be on this man's level. So just stop.
Yeah. But I mean, I think as far as it's all, I've said this before with this show, where we'll have these episodes that have these big culminations, and this feels like a big culmination for Londo's story. And I do expect we'll still see him in the following episodes, but this did feel like a sort of like ending point. We probably could just never see him again now, and it would make sense from a narrative point of view. But I do kind of wonder, okay, well, what's the plot now for these last like 4 episodes? Because
and movies.
Well, the movies are separate though, because the movies aren't set like during or between the episodes.
I guess I don't know. I don't know what the next one's going to be.
Well, yeah, but First Space was just its own thing. Like it was, like I'm not expecting the movies, but like the last 4 episodes, like it's such a serialized show. I'm like, I actually have no idea. I mean, I know the last one obviously was originally the season 4 finale, so that's going to be relatively standalone in a way.
Mm-hmm.
But I do wonder, like, these next few episodes, like, what are we doing here? If this war's already over, the Centauri stuff's kind of wrapped up, like, what are we doing? I'm actually, I don't know.
It's all a bunch of happy endings for everybody.
I don't think so. Have you watched this show?
Yeah, I know. I mean, I was suspicious, but I'm glad that that Londo didn't have one. Because I think he's supposed to be a cautionary tale. And he's supposed to be a tragic figure.
Yeah, I think that's fair. He suits the Emperor clothes, I guess. You know, he's he
I like that
part.
He just gets projected as like this like 300-foot image in the sky for his planet, and that's awesome. And we get different angles, so we see that it's like a full 3D rendering of Londo.
That makes sense, I guess. They've got this technology.
Mm-hmm.
You've also got that shot where he walks out into like the destroyed staircase, and I mean it's kind of funny though because we saw in the future, like Centauri Prime still looks like it's just been hit by bombs in the future, so they don't fix a damn thing. Like
they don't have any money; they have to owe reparations.
Yeah, they go decades without fixing it. it's just all war torn, and that in its own way is kind of symbolic that he is the emperor of this crumbled Centauri Prime. You know,
mm-hmm.
he back in the early days he spoke about building up things again so that they would be in the top of the galaxy, their place in the universe, they would be at the top. And now he's finally emperor, and he's sitting surrounded by rubble and just this broken down system where he doesn't really have any power, right?
Yeah.
So
it's like the where the Ozymandias thing comes from. Like, look upon my kingdom, ye mighty in despair, but it's just a broken statue surrounded by sand and ruins. Yeah, mighty kingdom.
So no, I mean, I think the culmination here, like, there's so much like backstory get into all of these like character interactions that I really felt the weight of all of them. Londo Jakar, Londo Veer, Londo Sheridan, like all of them paid off, and he gets a moment with everyone basically. Less so with Delenn, but they even have that. They do at least have that one little moment where she talks to him when they're all there and says that you've got like a darkness around you now. Obviously, we know what that is. We know it's a parasite that's like clinging to your shoulder, but she doesn't know that. But he gets a moment with all the main characters. If anything, the only sad thing is that we don't get a final scene with him and Garibaldi. I suppose he does think about him. We get a little,
Yeah, we didn't get any Garibaldi in this episode, except for the opening narration. He does the last time on Babylon 5. I was like, oh yeah, that's Garibaldi's voice.
Well, he's there at the end as well, when they're talking about the tech.
You're right. He is there at the table.
Yeah. But Londo does think about him. He has that moment where he thinks back to, like, you know, having fun with Garibaldi and, you know, his romances and also his dreams of his death with Jakar strangling him.
Well, such fond memories of the prophecy of his doom.
I don't think we're actually, when they weren't all happy memories, he also remembered watching, like, Narn be bombed. So, I mean, they weren't all cheery memories. It was more just, here's the big, you know, moments, the big bullet points.
Yeah. We should have gotten a Garrett Graham cameo. That would have been great in that.
Yeah.
With Lord Kiro telling him about how if he were emperor, Centauri would be back in its prime.
Face it, Tara, his character was a minor blip on this journey.
But, I mean, so influential. The whole series, really.
So, but I mean, hell, just that little montage where he thinks of all these things as he reflects only just further makes this feel like it is the end of his story in most ways. Which actually does make me curious as to how he's going to factor into the finale, knowing that was originally going to be at the end of season 4. Like, how does that... How's his...
He may still be able to travel, right? To go around? Who knows?
Well, yeah, you say that, but he should be in Emperor's clothes. There's, you know, like, things have changed.
Unless he doesn't live that long.
What do you mean? How could he not live that long?
You're talking about the finale, right?
Yeah, the finale of this season.
Mm-hmm. So, the episode that's going to take place in the future?
Wait, why is it taking place in the future?
Well, I think we just assumed that it was an episode that took place in the future. And that's why they pushed it to the finale of the series instead of last season.
I don't think we ever assumed that.
Well, yeah, we did.
No, the season 4 finale jumped ahead to the future. I don't think...
Well, I think we speculated that it would be like... Because Sheridan only has a time limit. So, like, that makes sense that, like, everybody would come back for his, like, final days or whatever.
I mean, yeah, maybe we mentioned this in a conversation at one point, but I don't think there's a guarantee that it's set in the future.
Yeah, well, I mean, if it is, then he might be dead. And Veer might be emperor because of that prophecy.
Yeah, okay, if it's far enough in the future, he could already be dead. Or it could be in the future where he's already emperor, so he was already... You know, when they shot the episode, he was already emperor because they knew that was going to happen.
Yeah.
So yeah, it could be either of those things, I suppose. But I guess part of me...
I mean, didn't he die in the movie that we watched also? The time travel one, where we see him in the future as emperor and he's drinking and stuff like that.
Well, no, because he dies when Jakar and him strangle each other.
Yeah, in that episode or movie, whatever it was.
No, it wasn't in the movie. That was in an episode. That was like in last season.
Okay. Well, in that episode where we see him with the parasite thing and he's emperor and he's drinking so that he could talk to Sheridan or Sinclair, whoever it was Sheridan. And then Jakar comes out and says it's time.
Why would it be Sinclair?
Sinclair showed up.
Not in that episode, he didn't.
Well, it was around that time and he was time traveling. This whole show is like a blur. But I remember the scene, right? And then he's like, okay, it's time, my old friend. And then Jakar comes around and strangles him.
No, I know all this, but like I don't know why we're assuming that this finale is going to take place after that. I mean, maybe it is. You may be right.
I just assume because it seems like the most likely thing given what we speculated. And we know that Sheridan has a time limit because of the deal he made to save Delenn or whatever. To live for Delenn. When he jumped into the pit.
Yeah. He's got about 20 years left. Yeah. Yeah, but do you really think we're getting like old age makeup for like a whole...
Yeah, probably.
Thing? I don't know, because the movie that comes out after is definitely not, like, he's still there, so, like, unless we're jumping back again after the finale, which, I mean, it's possible, but I don't know. I'm not ready to assume it. It's basically all I'm saying.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, this is all speculation. I honestly don't know what the finale is.
Yeah.
But this is what we just speculated from previously.
Yeah.
So I thought that's what we were like, why I brought it up so casually, because I thought we had these conversations.
Well, we probably did, but I don't know if I ever necessarily felt like we came to like a conclusion or anything like that. But either way, it was a while ago. I remember the show better than I remember our conversations, which is very clear from this conversation that you're the opposite.
Yes.
Oh dear. Yeah. But either way, like I'm curious to see how everyone fits into that finale, given that it was shot for the end of season 4 originally. But we'll see. But yeah, we're only a few away. We do have another movie before the end of the season, though. There's like another episode, and then another TV movie, and then it's the last couple. I'll double check, of course, before we do it exactly where the next TV movie slots in terms of the release order. But yeah, so kind of an odd schedule here towards the end of the season, but. But this was a very good episode. Probably the best of the season, maybe. Like, you know, this season as a whole, like, definitely was a bit aimless at points, and you know, we were doing all the telepath stuff with telepath
Byron.
Jesus. Yeah, Byron, that was his name. But we, you know, like it kind of felt like we were kind of past like what the main story of the show was. I think these last couple episodes dealing with Londo and the Centauri and like the Drac kind of finally making their move have really felt more like it feels like the show again. So I'm very curious to see what these next few episodes are, because I genuinely don't know where it's going now before we get to this finale.
Yeah.
But it wouldn't surprise me if it is basically a 4-episode epilogue to the whole thing at this point, because it has been such
a right.
big, you know, serialized show.
Maybe each episode is going to take place slightly in the future until we get to the end of Sheridan's life.
I'm not convinced we're getting the end of Sheridan's life, but I mean, maybe you're right.
It just seems like such a the right thing to do, given the setup of like you have 20 years that you could spend with the woman you love and, you know, saving your planet and blah blah blah.
Oh, no, I mean, I get it, but like I know he's in like the TV movies that come after, so I just it feels weird to me that they would go back again. Yeah,
but they've done that already in the show.
Yeah, I guess. I just feel like if you're going to do that ending, you just like, that's it. He's done. His story's done. We're not going to faff about with it anymore.
Yeah. Well, the fans wanted more, and JMS said okay. I guess. I don't know.
Well, it wasn't the fans. It was the TV network that wanted more. They said, we want another season and multiple TV movies because we need something to put on TNT.
Dynamite.
And he said yes, evidently. So
he said yes, I love money.
So anyway, that's the.
Did we mention that there's going to be a movie coming out, an animated movie?
Oh no, we didn't. No, we haven't mentioned that. With the living cast that are still around.
Yeah.
Doing their
Pretty
voices.
Insane. It's going to come out soon too.
Well, they've already filmed it, yeah. So this is not something that's going to be delayed by the writer's strike because they've already done it.
Yeah.
So, including Lockley, I noticed she was in the cast list, which is interesting. But maybe part of me is going to be cynical in a sad way and just say that that's because so many of the other cast have died. That Lockley, she's still around. We can have Tracy Scoggins.
Yeah, I mean, it's a shame, but that's the reality of things. So, like, you can get around that with animation.
Yeah, that's coming. So we'll have a look at that when it does drop, because we should be up to date by then and ready to go.
Yeah.
So, yeah, let us know what you thought of the Fall Centauri Prime in the comments. Like, subscribe, ding the bell for notifications, all that stuff. Get us on the Twitters for _Fuzz for channel updates. And of course, if you want to support all the content, you can head over to patreon.com/MailFuzzTV and support us over there. But otherwise, that is us. So thank you once again for watching or listening. We always appreciate it. Keep watching Babylon 5. Just don't give away the home world.